Hey guys, today we're talking about a couple who had enough weed in their house to roll 150,000 joints. Let's get to it. Hey guys, welcome back to Hempy and Healthy, and we're going to dive right back in to another episode of Cannabis in the News. A husband and wife living in Aurora, Colorado turned their family home into a full-scale drug manufacturing facility. That's according to Attorney of Colorado, Jason Dunn, who said that in a statement after there was a raid on dozens of black market marijuana cultivators. Now, well, husband Han Yu Yang and wife Yulong Jiang, which I think is how you say their names, and if I butchered them, I apologize. Although I don't think they're going to be able to watch this because they have both received prison time. Now, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office, this decision to send them to prison was based off of them conspiring to manufacture marijuana and them maintaining a drug-involved premises. They were found guilty late last year after a 4-day trial. Now, even though their trial was late last year in 2019, the raids happened in October of 2018. The Aurora Police Department found 878 marijuana plants and around 10 pounds of cured weed in the couple's basement. So, holy shit, that's a lot. But it's not nearly as much as the police found overall in their raid in 2018, which apparently included dozens of quote-unquote black market marijuana cultivators. Now, the raid that happened in 2018 resulted in about 80,000 marijuana plants and about 4,500 pounds of ready-to-sell marijuana. Now, my absolute favorite part about this is, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office, the couple had enough marijuana to yield 150,000 joints. Who's counting the joints? Is there someone rolling the joints at the Attorney's Office? Does the U.S. Attorney's Office have like a dedicated joint roller who's been spending the last year rolling up all that marijuana and is finally like, hey, you can release the article. It's 150,900. Hey, you said 150K? Yeah, that's it. Now, Colorado residents are permitted to have up to 12 marijuana plants per household. It doesn't actually matter how many people live in that household. It could be 1 or it could be 100, I think. Like, I don't know how many people can actually live in one household, but you get what I'm saying. The point is that it doesn't matter how many people are living with you. If you're living in Colorado, the maximum amount of plants you can have is 12. Well, unfortunately, they're no longer going to be hanging out in their house and manufacturing tons of marijuana. Now they're going to be hanging out in their cells and manufacturing tons of fear because they're in prison. Moving on, an anti-marijuana activist brought a bag of grass disguised as a bag of weed to a Utah House committee considering passing a bill to legalize medical marijuana. Now, the anti-marijuana activist's name is Walter Plum III, and just by looking at him, you can kind of understand why this guy was doing what he was doing. So what was he doing exactly? Well, during a public testimony portion of the hearing, Plum spoke his mind, if you will. He argued that the bill's regulations were far too loose. And he says, and I quote, "Already your actions that you're responsible for have had devastating results on the youth of the state of Utah." He then said, "More damage than the 2 Mexican cartels now operating in our area. There's not a higher priority than youth." Now, I agree with Walter Plum that there isn't a higher priority for youth. I think that anybody with any sort of influential power should be considering youth in anything that they do and what they can do to better service them. However, I don't think that medical marijuana is more dangerous than the Mexican cartel. Now, right before his time ran out, he threw up a bag of what we think was weed and said, "I have a bag of weed. This is what you call medicine." I don't know if he was like trying to be like, this is not medicine. I mean, I feel like this is the kind of guy that feels like medicine should be in little plastic bottles, always labeled, and always created synthetically through a bunch of different chemicals mixing together, I guess. I'm really not sure how that works. He basically thinks that marijuana is the devil.
The devil!
Now, after he threw up the bag of weed and yelled, "I have a bag of weed," the committee tried to end the conversation by politely saying, "Thank you, sir." But that didn't work because he did state right afterwards that he is not through yet, although he was already being, I believe, taken out of the facility. Now, when this happened, a lot of people definitely paid a lot more attention. While one person said that he just popped up out of nowhere and yelled, I have a bag of weed right here. Another person said, what's he doing carrying around weed? And he actually wasn't carrying around weed. After the police arrested him, he admitted that it was grass clippings from a lawn, that he went and stuck it in a plastic bag and tried to call it grass. See what I did there? Now, actually in 2018 in Utah, there was a bill that voters approved that would have legalized medical marijuana, but what happened is the Utah state legislature overrode that with their own bill that pretty much put the restrictions right back on it. So with this new bill that has been passed, despite Plum's best efforts, medical marijuana will now have, as long as it continues to go up the ladder and actually be passed, it won't have as many restrictions or regulations. So, yay, Utah, you went and did something and then reversed it and then did it again. Good job. In other news, we're going to talk about the FDA some more. The FDA says that getting rid of CBD would be a fool's game. Yeah. And really, it's more or less the new commissioner who's saying this, Stephen Hahn, calling it a fool's game to try to pull CBD out of the market. Yeah, that's pretty obvious, buddy. What else is obvious is his reasoning behind it. He says, people are using it. Yep. According to the FDA, CBD is here to stay. Now, hemp and its derivatives have been legal since the Farm Bill passed in 2018. Unfortunately, policies governing the marketing of CBD products has been murky at best. The FDA is still in the process of developing rules, if you will, that will allow businesses to sell CBD within food and dietary supplements. This is something that former FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb said that would take years for this process. We actually have a whole video on him. If you want to watch that, I'll link it in the description below. Hahn and his recent comments are making us feel that even though the FDA isn't all that thrilled or too happy with the explosion of CBD into the market, they're not planning on doing some sort of industry-wide crackdown. They're not like trying to go after everybody and screw everybody's businesses up. Now, I will go back on that note and say that just based off the way that the government works, their enforcement policies can be very unpredictable. So I would say stick to the main rule of not saying sort of any crazy, unsubstantiated claim, right? So the FDA is going to crack down on people who have outlandish and unsubstantiated claims about their CBD products. Really, the only thing you have to worry about is if you have a CBD product where you're claiming that it cures something or medically works for something, right? You don't want to be doing that. So you want to use words like helps with. My point is that even though the FDA is working on these regulations, these rules that they're developing to allow businesses to sell CBD in food, be cautious about the way that you talk about your products, especially when you're marketing them. And yeah, that's it. So good news, the FDA is pushing it forward, but obviously we're still going to have to wait because it's still the FDA. Moving on. Researchers believe that cell phones, SUVs, and marijuana are responsible for the sudden spike in pedestrian deaths. Apparently, according to research, we reached an all-time 30-year high in 2019 of pedestrian deaths. So, we're doing something. According to the study that was released by the Governor's Highway Safety Association, approximately 6,590 pedestrians were killed across the country in car accidents. So this was a 5% increase in 2018 and an actual 60% increase from 2009. So, holy crap. What happened in 2009, though? The man behind the report, Richard Redding of the Sam Schwartz engineering firm, wrote that he believes that the main culprit is the increase in smartphone use. He also said that for 30 years, pedestrian deaths were on the decline up until 2009. So what exactly did happen in 2009? What caused this turnaround? He doesn't really see another factor, and so he really is pushing the fact that cell phone use is the main cause of the increase in pedestrian deaths. I completely agree with him. I think it's ridiculous to think anything else. But of course, the researchers do think other things. And what do they think? So among the other possible explanations on why the deaths have increased so much, researchers told us that, well, the increase in SUVs and warmer climates could cause pedestrians to be walking out more during night. I'll read what it says. I mean, it literally says, the growing popularity of SUVs and warmer temperatures drawing out more pedestrians after dark when fatality rates are significantly higher. The report also suggests that the changing patterns in drug use and legalization or decriminalization of marijuana is a possible cause. But They have no evidence to support this. Now, although they have no evidence to prove that marijuana is the culprit, there is evidence that has recently come up suggesting that baby boomers are smoking weed at unprecedented rates. According to a study done by a company called the Sociological Non-Shockers, America's baby boomers are smoking a lot of pot. They're dancing with Mary Jane. They're toking up. They're smoking on the tree. Any way you want to slice it. Those who are 65 and older are smoking weed at a steadily increasing rate. And apparently this is most significant in women, people with a college education, as well as people with low-end incomes of $20,000 to $49,000 and high-end incomes of $79,000 plus, as well as married couples. But basically it sounds like they're saying that everybody. Here's a percentage of Americans 65 and older who reported using marijuana over the years. Between 2006 and 2007, they say 0.4%. Between 2015 and 2016, they're saying 2.9%. And about 4.2% around 2018. So based off those numbers, it appears that older Americans, or people aged 65 and up, are smoking about 10 times more than they were 15 years ago. I believe that baby boomers have been smoking this entire time. I mean, think about this. About 2 decades ago, marijuana was a criminal offense in all 50 states. I think that it's becoming more accepted, and even if the numbers are going up, I think it's a lot less than it looks like it is. I don't think it's 10 times the amount. I think a ton of people were smoking in secret. And whether you're a baby boomer, a member of the FDA, or somebody growing a shit ton of marijuana plants in their house, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. And hey, leave a comment below and I'll shout out your name in the next video, at the end of the next video. If you leave a comment, I'll pick you at random and shout out your name. Isn't that cool? I think it's pretty cool. Have a great day. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. I didn't wear my glasses this time. It was difficult.